the Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I give you the Battle of Athens, 1946. Now, a couple days ago, I did a video on gun rights, and I've been seeing a lot of things coming up. There's a lot of school shootings, a lot of things going on, a lot of people shooting guns and fucking things up. And I have to say, while I think there is a lot of bad people in the U.S., there's two things going on here. One, I think that a lot of people, just like in Japan, have a hard time being noticed. They want to be noticed. The way to get noticed in our wonderful climate we have now with our Jersey Shore and Real World and Housewives and all the bullshit that's been going on, we've set up this culture ourselves. And what's going on is these people who are disenfranchised, who have mental issues, who are looked down upon in society, who are bullied, take up arms, and they go and they know that if they shoot somebody, not only are they going to be remembered, like talked about on the TV, but they're going to be remembered, and they're going to be in history books, and people are going to know their name. And even if they die doing this, they think it's almost like the fundamentalist Muslims who think they're going to get, 76 virgins when they die. It's almost the same thing. Nowadays, there's actually people who think they can walk into a school, shoot a few people, and then they'll be remembered. The problem is that is actually affecting us, and it almost seems planned. I'm not going to say that I'm in the camp that all these are planned things that they're trying to take your guns, but I do find it quite strange that in our day and age that we live in right now, people are trying to take your guns, and they do it the same way they did when 9/11 happened, where they enacted a bunch of laws that took your freedoms, and they said, "Oh no, we're just trying to protect you from terrorists." And then they started searching you and stuff at the airports, and like I've said before, nobody has ever been caught at an airport with anything having to do with terrorism. So it's not about that. It's about making you. Basically, it sets your mind up. If you want somebody to, it works the same way. Like, say, if you take somebody hostage, or you kidnap somebody, if you fuck with their brain enough, they'll eventually accept it, and that's what that's about. It's not about, basically, before 9/11, if you went into the airport and had people telling you to take off your shoes and take off your belt and put everything in your pockets and then go through a scanner, people would be fucking outraged. They would be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they're asking, where are we at?" But now, it's normal. And so they push a little bit more after that. Once they get you normalized to that, they push you a little bit more. And that's why they want to say, like, "Oh, we only want assault rifles. We only want to get assault rifles off the street. And magazines that have more than 5 bullets, because a guy can't reload, A guy can't have a 9mm Glock with a a clip that holds 15 but only holds 5 because of some stupid thing. They can't drop the clip, pop another one in, and shoot off another 5 rounds, and then pop the clip and pop another one in. You know, having 5, it's all stupid shit. But they think people are dumb enough to fall for it, and they think people are dumb enough to think like they're just trying to protect us. The government just wants to protect you. What the government wants to do is take your freedoms and take your rights and erode them slowly and slowly and slowly and more and more and more till there is no semblance of law and there is no semblance of a government in the United States. And they're already 90% there right now, and people just aren't looking. They're not. People actually still think that your vote counts, and your vote only counts if you have $1 billion backing you up. You don't elect anybody in the United States. That doesn't happen anymore. The Electoral College is bought off. There's no reason for the Electoral College even in the United States. The Electoral College was set up because before the invention of the automobile and trains weren't all the way across the United States yet, they had the Electoral College because little cities and little towns could vote, and they would take an average of everybody, and the Electoral College would vote, and that would count for a certain amount of votes. And they did that because they only had Pony Express, they had steam trains and steam engines and, you know, paddle boats and stuff, and you couldn't move around the country very fast. So if you wanted to elect a president or something like that, it was very hard. Well, now in the day and age, actually for many, many years, not just in this day and age, it's, you know, I would say for the last 100 years, it's been obsolete. But the ruling party in the government keeps it so that they can actually subjugate the people, because that's actually how George Bush won. The Electoral College actually had the other guy winning the first time George Bush won. But George Bush was actually able to steal Florida and steal the election with the Electoral College. And they're actually swaying the vote so that people that aren't being elected by the people aren't being elected. You know? So the reason why you need your weapons and why you need guns is given in the 1946 Battle of Athens, Tennessee, where a mayor and his family had taken over the city and had basically stole the votes and put all of his family and friends in office, and they were subjugating the people, and it was a tyranny. So they had a vote, and everybody was trying to vote and get all those people out of office. Well, they came down with armed people, took the ballot boxes, and took them to the police station. So they actually got a bunch of people together who were ex-military veterans from World War II. They went to the armory, they got all the weapons, and they went to the police station and told them to give them the ballot boxes. They hid inside there, and the governor, or the mayor of the town, which was a tyrannical little fucker that wanted to steal everything and basically take everybody's wealth and give taxes and basically run the city into the ground while he became very wealthy. He was held up in there, and he was trying to change the ballots and make it to where he won and take all the and put other people's ballots in and take other people's ballots out. So they wouldn't come out, and they shot up the thing. They still wouldn't come up. So one of the guys got some dynamite and blew the front door, and everybody came out, and they got the ballot boxes back. And they was able to have an election, and in that election, all those guys were taken out of office. There's a reason why you need your weapons, and it's just like it says. The Second Amendment states, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I'll say that again. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. A lot of people like to say the well-regulated militia. You know, all that means is people getting together in a common goal. You know, a common goal where people feel that the government is a tyranny and it needs to be taken care of. Now, the problem that America has is they are scared of you. Literally. There's a lot of people in the United States. I would say, I mean, it seems like there's a big military presence because of everybody. But I would venture to say that about 30% of the United States has been in the military, probably, or somewhere around 30%. So you have these people who are gung-ho for America, know how to use weapons, and many people that are probably maybe 40% or 50% of those people, the rest of them, are avid hunters that know how to use their weapons. And then you have 300 million registered weapons in the United States, and you have an estimated 300 to 400 million unregistered weapons in the United States. Now, it doesn't matter how many tanks and how many grenade launchers and water cannons and that stuff you have. If you try to overtake the United States through a tyrannical government, and people start to realize that's happening, which I wish they would, because it's actually been happening for many years, since before Reagan. If people would realize that it was going on, and everybody got together and handed you a weapon, and you all went to the Congress and to your local representatives and took them out of office and had a real election where people were elected, the entire American system would change overnight. And people wouldn't believe how over the night it would change, you know, because it was set up in a way where you were supposed to have equal representation. And what that means is farmers, doctors, dentists, you know, all kinds of people from around the country would be able to be president. That you didn't have to go to college, you didn't have to be something like that. You just had to be somebody who wanted to do their part and take care of the country for a few years. Well, here's something that a lot of people don't know about, and I'll enlighten you guys. There was an amendment passed in 1776 called the 13th Amendment. Now, the 13th Amendment stated that if you were a lawyer, if you passed the bar, you were no longer an American citizen, you were disenfranchised, and you were not able to hold any office, because the word bar means British Accredited Registry is what it meant. And they stated also at the same time that there are no legal courts in the United States. Courts are not legal because the American citizens could not be held to a legal system unless of two things. And then it was only administrative, which means two people would get together and say, you owe me this much money, I owe you that much money, and they would, you know, whatever. So it was supposed to be administrative, and there wasn't supposed to be any courts. The only courts that were able to be legally under the Constitution was military tribunals. Now, like I say, if you look for the 13th Amendment, the real 13th Amendment, you'll find this. Strangely, in the War of 1812, the documents that stated the 13th Amendment and what it meant were burned, along with the Library of Congress. So many things were burnt in the War of 1812. Shortly after that, they got together and made a law, unbeknownst to the people of the United States. And they changed the 13th Amendment to what it is now. And they got rid of that 13th Amendment, which stated you couldn't hold office if you were a lawyer, because you were going to use legal jargon, and you were also going to be able to make legal documents that would subjugate the people of the United States. Think of this. How many people have been president since George Washington that have been lawyers? Our president right now he went to Harvard Law. His wife went to Harvard Law. Under the Constitution, you're supposed to be disenfranchised for that, But people don't want to think about this, and they want to say, "Oh, that's a long time ago." So was the Bible, but look at 80% of the United States think the Bible's true too. So these are real things. The next thing, the U.S. Constitution was never legally ratified. But what was ratified was the Virginia Constitution. And the Virginia Constitution stated that every state was equal, and that the government had to abide by whatever laws were set in the state. And all of the states ratified that. All of them, I think 10 of them out of 13. So it was an overwhelming majority, and that Constitution is still in effect. Yet if you look around for it, if you try to find the Virginia Constitution from 1776, it's really hard to find. Can't hardly find it at all, because they don't want you to know what it says. And the reason why is people overlook the very first sentence in the U.S. Constitution. And they overlook it because they don't understand the legal jargon, which is why they wanted to get rid of lawyers. The state is not a place. The state is a state of being in a legal sense. So the state of something, like when you walk into your home and the dogs shit all over and ripped up all your stuff, and you go, "Jesus Christ, look at the state of this place." That's the state. That's the state they're talking about. It's not actually a place. It's a thing. It's a legal entity. So when it says the United States of America, the reason why they said that was because of that Virginia Declaration, they put all of the states together in one state, which made the government able to dictate what would happen in the states. And that was never ratified legally. So therefore, they just said, "Oh yeah, no, it is. No, it's fine. It's fine. We're fine." But it wasn't ever ratified. So they put it in. They pushed that in and got it through. And as I said in the other thing, we're a constitutional republic. So they said they shouldn't take up different like Democrats and Republicans and the left and the right and the majority and all this bullshit wasn't supposed to be a thing. You were supposed to get elected because people thought you could do the job. But now it's come to a point where you have to first on the very First Amendment, it says you're not supposed to be judged for office through a religion, you know, and to hold office in the United States, first you have to be really smart, really rich, and you also have to maybe have been a lawyer, you know, or something. And we are not fairly represented. You know, when was the last auto mechanic who held office? When was the last body man who held office? When was the last construction worker who held office? You know, can you think of any normal people that have held office? It's always doctors, lawyers, and that's pretty much it that have held office. And people who work in the military, very high up, and people who work for major companies like Monsanto, you know, these big ag companies, and leaders of these huge, massive companies. And nobody gets pissed off about this. That doesn't represent you. These people don't represent you. They're spoon-fed, silver spoon-fed. They were raised in a rich family. They didn't grow up in poor, rural areas. The people that do get elected like that don't ever get anything done, because all these other rich fuckheads don't want those people to actually be able to change anything, because they've got their own little monarchy going up there, and they've got their own monies and their own things, and they want to be able to, if they do get thrown out of office, they want to be able to leave with hundreds of millions of dollars, you know. So they don't want people to fuck up their little mojo they got going up there, you know. And this is the reason why you need weapons. Because even, like I say, even if they have water cannons, even if they have all this stuff, if all these people got together and finally realized what was going on and wanted to get rid of it and have real elections and elect people, they would have to take up arms. Doing an amendment isn't going to do anything, because you can see how hard it is for Bush to get things done, how hard it is for Clinton to get things done, how hard it is for Obama to get things done in office, because you have two separate people fighting back and forth, and they're getting worse and worse now, to where it's almost at a gridlock, to where these people want to do something and these people want to do something. Neither one of them can agree even a little bit on anything, so nothing gets done. How do you think you're going to pass an amendment that way? How do you think you're going to pass an amendment to get money out of politics? There's only one way to get money out of politics. That's to do an armed revolution, to go up to the court, to go up to the office, take everybody out, get rid of everybody, have elections, put all new people in, get rid of all the families that have been up there, and start over again from the ground up, and elect a new president, new vice president, everything. I even think that the whole thing of a president taking up a vice president should be voted on. The president shouldn't be able to take somebody up on his coattails, somebody that he knows. Even the people that he puts into his office shouldn't be done. That should all be voted on. He should not be able to put people into office that he wants to. All those people should be elected, and they should be elected by the people. So I'll leave it in the description below. You guys can watch and see what happened in 1947 and why you need your weapons. And I don't care how many people get shot. I don't care how many idiots go out and think they're going to make a name for themselves. That's your fault. That's your fucking stupid fault for having people like the Kardashians on TV. These people think I'm a fucking loser, and I've been bullied my whole life. Nobody likes me, and I'm kind of a dork. So I'm going to get a weapon, and I'm going to go shoot up some people, and then people are going to know me. People are going to know my face. I'm going to be really famous. I may be dead, but I'm going to be really famous. And even if I'm not dead and I go to jail, everybody's going to know who I am, and I'm going to be a superstar. That's your fault. You did that to yourself. And if you got any comments or questions, leave them in the section below. Thanks for watching. Share, like, and subscribe as always. Peace.